What is going on, guys? Disney Dan here. Welcome back into the channel and welcome to episode 26 of Disney Fiasco. Thank you so much for joining us back into the channel. We got some great people already in the chat. We got Kate Atwood, Timothy Rainwaters, Noah, Our Disney Adventures. Just very quickly, just thank you so much for all the birthday wishes. It's my 24th birthday today. It's just crazy. And it's also the 6th-month anniversary of Disney Fiasco. It is our 26th episode. We have done this for half a year, and it's absolutely crazy. And one of the people who I could not have done this without is Megan from Mickey's Magic. So glad to have you back after missing last week. So it's good to see you. Welcome back.
Thanks, Dan. Happy birthday. I'm really excited to be back after being the ghost host the last time I was on. And that, I really liked doing that. So maybe sometime in the future, the stream will, freak out again and I'll be the ghost host again with my ghost host shirt now. And I'm really excited to have Rachel on tonight.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for having me. I'm so honored to be here tonight to talk about my favorite topic, Disney princesses.
See, when I thought of this topic, I had to think of, right, who out of everybody who I can bring onto this show, there were two people I needed to bring on this show. One was Megan, because she's our regular. She's the one, which is like my partner in crime. And then I had to bring the Disney Princess Couture herself, Rachel, in to join us today. So I'm so glad we've managed to get together and do this show. I think we've gone backwards and forwards, meeting people through like Resort TV 1, AJ from the Kingdom Times, all these great channels and really awesome people. So it's really awesome to finally just sit down and could have a lot of fun today. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
So who we got back in the chat? We have Noah, Main Street and Mickey. Juan is here. Lisa M is here. Mouse Talk had some great streams this week. A Disney Life for Me is here. Jill, Belle Southern is here. Steve World is here. Charlotte is here. Welcome. Lots of really great people in the chat. Also, I have a little bit of a sneak preview for tomorrow's little stream. As it's my birthday, I thought I'd show off a little bit of something I got for you guys. I'm going to be part of the professionals, guys. I have finally got a nice gimbal, guys. So we've got a nice gimbal, so we're going to have a lot of great live streams coming up. So I hope you guys really enjoy that. So before we get started, please make sure we're sharing out the stream, hitting that like button, and just sharing the Disney love, and we'll get on. Speaking of which, AJ is here. Hey, guys, I can't stay too long. Happy birthday, Dan. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Awesome. So we were thinking about Disney princesses. Now, for a lot of people, especially a lot of little girls, this is what they have been inspired by. This is every little girl wants to be a Disney princess. Some of them, might have wanted to be pirates or a ghost host, but a lot of young girls wanted to be Disney princesses. And you can't talk about Disney without Disney princesses. So we've decided to think about our favorite Disney princesses. And if you've never been to Disney Fiasco before, we go round the table and talk about each particular topic, about our favorites. So, Rachel, as you are our guest, and because you were well prepared before both of us, despite us only, doing this show for about six months, we would like you to go first with your first pick of the evening. So, it's all down to you.
So my first favorite Disney princess is Elsa.
Nice.
From Frozen. And one of the reasons why she's my favorite is because I named my dog after her. So whenever I see my dog, of course, I think of her. And I think she stands for she's just such a perfect person for little girls to look up to. And she accepts herself for who she is, and she accepts that she has these powers and doesn't care what anyone else thinks of that, and I really admire that.
I think she's by far, over the last decade, the most popular quote-unquote Disney princess.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
And I remember when that film came out, like every single little girl just wanted an Elsa doll, an Elsa dress, Elsa everything. It was flying off the shelves. Disney could not cope with the amount of merchandise they were selling with Elsa. It is just incredible. So, excuse me. And it has a big connection to you because you've named your dog after her.
Yeah, exactly. So I love her so much. And I just love that movie. So
it's a great movie. I absolutely, and they've made it so much that, now they have a ride. And I remember being there opening day when I was a cast member, and it was like a 400 minute wait.
Oh my
gosh.
It was crazy.
400 minutes. Oh my god.
Because they loved Elsa. It was like a 2-hour wait just to meet them. It was unbelievable.
Wow.
So it is what it is. I think Elsa can definitely be considered one of the most popular Disney characters in general.
Definitely.
Megan, have you got anything to add on to that?
So I didn't even think about Elsa to put her on my list. I'm not a huge fan of Frozen. I think it's a really good movie, but I think when I watched it for the first time, it was like very, very overhyped. And I do really like the storyline. And my friend Catherine, who just was down in Disney with me, she's like obsessed with Frozen. And I think it's this ability to connect to the characters and, being an outcast as Elsa was. And she's really just banned from her own family, and she's like from her own kingdom. And I think it's very brave of her to go out and find her own path and something that makes her happy. And I love Idina Menzel. And going back to Dan, what you said about like everyone wanted to be Elsa. I just know that Kristen Bell's daughter, who, if you guys don't know in the chat, I feel like everyone probably does know that she voices Anna, and her daughter wanted her to be Elsa for Halloween the 2nd year in a row this last year, which I just thought was the most hilarious thing. But she is a really wonderful character. I really do like Elsa.
Yeah.
No, she's great. And also, she's one of only few Disney princesses that actually has powers.
Yeah.
Which I think is pretty cool. So
I agree.
And it's a great take on the whole Ice Queen, story. And no, it's a fantastic pick. And I've got to ask you, because this is your pick, favorite quote or line that Elsa says?
I love the entire song of Let It Go, because I feel like that's when she really just like accepts everything and is like, you know what? I don't care what anyone thinks. This is how I am, and take it or leave it. So I really love the entire song of Let It Go.
Awesome. I love it. Great pick. Now, Meg, was Elsa on your list?
No, she was not, actually, as I was, quickly making this list on and off. And like I was telling Dan before, if you guys hear like little puppy noises, I do have a dog in the room right now. So he's like trying to be quiet, but I hear him. So I'm like going in and out of muting my screen. So I didn't put her on my list, but like I said, I didn't even think about her. And I don't necessarily consider Elsa a princess. I consider Anna a princess. Oh, there he is. And I consider Elsa a queen, but I think they sort of coincide. So I didn't actually put either one of them on my list, but they're great characters. They're really funny, and Anna's funny. Elsa is just, like I said, I love Idina Menzel. She's amazing.
Or Adele Dazeem, which who said that in the award show? Adele Dazeem got the name wrong. I can't remember where that was. It was an award show, and they were awarding Let It Go, and it was Adele Dazeem, not Idina Menzel, and it's just really, go look it up on YouTube. It's really funny. All right, Meg, first pick. Which Disney princess was your number one pick?
Actually, the first one that came to mind for me, which is actually not something I feel like I talk about. Hi, Arjons. I actually wrote down Merida first, and I really love Merida. I think she's a really strong female character, and I like that she's very independent and she wants to fight for her own right and her own life. And, she feels like she has the ability to change her fate. And I think she's a really underrated princess, which is maybe why I put her first. And sorry. Just like, we never know what's going to happen here on this stream. But I also love Touch the Sky is one of my favorite songs. So I love when that part's going and she's, shooting all her arrows. And I just love her attitude. And, who doesn't love that hair? It's amazing.
There seems to be a lot of love for Merida. And thank you, AJ. All right, I've got to head out. I'll watch the replay later. Thank you so much for stopping by. Yeah, Merida actually was my number 2. Was Merida on your list, Rachel?
She was not actually.
Interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting.
I really like Merida. She was my second choice just because she is very independent and she's very skillful and she will do whatever it takes to, you know, win the right for herself. You know, she doesn't want to be treated by anybody else. She wants to make sure that she is on her own path, like Meg said. And the music is fantastic. And she's the only Disney Pixar princess. Is that right? I think, which I think is really cool.
I do think so. I think that is right.
Which begs the question, do other like studios as princesses fit into the Disney princess bubble? So we'll have to talk about that maybe later. But I think Merida is a great character. I think she is certainly underrated. But though her line at Disney World is, you know, quite long a lot of the time. So there is that maybe cult following for Merida. And I know, well, being from the UK, a lot of Scottish people love Merida. Like, love it. So, yeah, no, I think she's a really great princess. And, you know, she's just as good as Robin Hood for as an archer. What do we think, Rachel? I know it's not on the list, but...
I know. I think she is definitely underrated. I can't believe I didn't even think of her. I think I'm, like, super basic with how, like, the princesses that I like. So, but I completely agree with you guys that she is such an amazing role model for being, like, so independent. That is just, like, such an awesome message to send to young girls and whoever is watching.
Absolutely. Great pick, Meg. Love it. Make sure, guys, we're smashing that like button. There are 23 people in live right now, and there's 21 likes. That is awesome, guys. Thank you so much. And make sure we're sharing out the stream and hitting that like button. And yeah, we're going to head on to my pick. And it's on the same lines as you, Rachel. And I picked Anna as my first pick.
Oh, yay.
I love Anna. I think she is such a bubbly, funny, just interactive person. And if you really think about it, she is the main driving force of Frozen. You follow her story, you know, from, you know, wanting to play with Elsa and wanted to get her out of that room so she can, you know, do lots of different stuff together. And then you just watch Elsa move further and further away. And you just follow Anna's story to, you know, try and get Elsa back while, you know, with a lot of other things going on with Hans and Olaf and Sven. Just there's so much getting in her way to trying to get them back together. And I think Anna just does it with a smile on her face. And I think that's very similar to what I like to do. I like to have a smile on my face. And she's very inspirational for a lot of girls. Now, lots of little girls prefer Elsa over Anna, which I think is awesome. But for me, I feel like Anna is the main character and princess of that movie, in my opinion. Yeah. So, hey, DBC Dad, what is going on? Good to see you. Thank you for stopping by. And we got Corey. Corey Fiasco is in the house. Hey, stopping by in between class stuff. For the record, my vote is Punzi, number 1. The lanterns make me cry. Even though Corey is not here, he will be back hopefully very soon. And I would love to get his pick, but I'm sure we'll be talking about Rapunzel at some point this stream. And Stacey Rogers is here as well. Please go check out my partner channel, Corey Fiasco, who's in the chat right now. And good to see you, my friend. So, Anna, let's go with Rachel. What do you think of Anna? I know. How do you find her with the interaction with Elsa? You like that sisterhood connection?
So one thing I absolutely love about Anna is that throughout the entire thing, no matter what gets in her way, she does not give up for the love for her sister. And I love that so much. And that goes to show how close family is and that blood can never be broken between family members. And I love that so much. She is so courageous and funny, but also she has such a soft spot for her sister. And I love that.
Love it. Yeah, I'm in total agreement. Although I don't really get that relationship because I don't have a sister. So, but I can definitely like see where that is coming from and see, you know, that their connection is the most important thing. Yeah. Meg, was Anna on your list?
Anna was not on my list, but like I said, I was just making this right before I started. And I do really love Anna. I think someone else was saying like her awkwardness, her quirkiness, just how real she is as a person and as a woman. And I love Kristen Bell. I think she's so funny. But then I also love, Dan, I think you were saying that she really is the driving force of the movie. And I think without her, it would not have been successful at all. I think as great of a singer as Idina Menzel is, I think having Kristen Bell and having Anna as a character, it was so imperative for its success. And I also think Olaf too. I think having the two of them is just really important for that movie. But then at the end, when, you know, she's given, like you, Dan, I don't have a sister. I have all brothers, so I don't understand that sisterly bond, but I do understand that family bond. And the fact that she would do anything for her sister, she like basically chose her sister's life over her own. And she went to go save her sister, and it really was a true act of love. And I think that was really powerful.
Yeah.
And I would say Love is an Open Door is probably my favorite song that she sings. I can't stop singing that song. And for me, like every time I go to Epcot, I'm like, you know what? I'm not really too bothered meeting Elsa. I'd rather go meet Anna. But I'm like, you know what? I'm seeing them both. It's fine. But I'd rather go see Anna because she's a little bit more just more playful. She's just more humorous in my way, in my opinion. We got Cargo is here. Hey Cargo, what is up? How's it going? Auntie's here. Auntie Fiasco. Awesome. So we are heading into round 2. Make sure we're hitting that like button, guys. We are on 30 views, guys. This is crazy. This is the most we've ever had in this show. So, and it's our 6-month anniversary of the show. So thank you so much. You guys are absolutely awesome. Right. We are going back into round 2. Rachel, what is your second pick?
Okay, so like I said, I'm very basic with my princesses. So of course I had to pick Cinderella because, I mean, who doesn't love Cinderella and that big, beautiful blue castle in Magic Kingdom? And I love that in the movie, it goes to show you that no matter like what anyone says about you or thinks about you and like what they do to you, that in the end, like you can come out the best and then you can prove all those people wrong. And Meg, we have a similar story with bullying. And with that, I think that is so hopeful for people who also go through that, to know that you can come out the best in the end, and what all those people say about you doesn't matter, and that doesn't hold you back from your destiny.
Yeah, and I think just even looking at it in general, like Cinderella is just, in my opinion, in the whole of Disney history, there are 2 important princesses that if these 2 weren't, you know, successful, we wouldn't even be here today with Disney. That is Snow White and Cinderella.
Yeah.
During World War II, Disney was producing, you know, not great Disney animated films. They weren't successful. You know, World War was really taking a hit on the animation, you know, field. And Disney decides to create Cinderella. And since then, back in the 1930s, 40s, it is still revolutionary. It made all the money that Disney needed to what we have today. And Cinderella now plays, you know, the most important role. She is probably the ambassador of Disney princesses.
Yeah, that's so awesome how even though all that time has passed, she's still like one of the most popular princesses out there.
Yeah. And, you know, she's got her own castle named after, you know, after her. Not all Disney princesses have that, which I think is quite unique. You know, she is just a very just elegant character. A lot of girls before Elsa, before Rapunzel, before Tiana, before, you know, characters like Mulan, I'm probably taking them all off your list. You know, she was the one that I think a lot of people kind of were drawn to. Yeah. Because, you know, people just wanted to be like her and elegant and find that, you know, true love. So I think, you know, she is, you know, just in terms of the importance of her as a character in Disney history, you know, she was on my list. She was in my honorable mentions. Meg, I'm guessing she was in your list?
She was on my honorable mentions only because there are so many princesses that I love. And I totally agree with you guys. I think without Cinderella, we would not be, as if I'm a part of the whole Disney company, like we would not be where we are today. Even though Snow White is technically the first princess, I do consider like Cinderella to be really I don't want to say like the starting princess, because I view her as what a princess really is, and to have her own castle. And I think just to overcome all those odds and have so many people against you, like Lady Tremaine is so horrible, and to have that in your family to just like defy the odds and really come out, like Rachel said, on the other end so much better. And it gives little girls hope. And I think that's why we look up to Disney princesses so much. But yes, she was on my honorable mentions. I love Cinderella. I love her dress. I love everything about the movie. I love the fairy godmother. I love meeting her in person. I think she's an awesome princess.
I mean, when I went to 1900 Part Fair, she did kind of set me up with Gisela, so I kind of owe her like a lot of credit for that. So, you know, she does look after people, which I think is great. And no, I really do think she is a great character to meet and greet, and just, you know, she's everywhere. She absolutely is everywhere. And it's crazy to think that still to this day, you know, 60, 70 years on, they've made a live action remake, which I think was amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I love the live action remake. I thought that was such a good movie. And also, like, growing up as a little girl, you always think like, oh, my Prince Charming, one day I'll have a Prince Charming and her big blue dress. And that's what I can remember from being little and going to Disney. It's always Cinderella, Cinderella. So, and
I think, you know, now in this modern day that, you know, it's not all about, you know, the princesses being saved by the prince and everything like that. But, you know, deep down, that is what, you know, how it was back in the day. And people still resonate that it's not about, you know, the prince saving the princess. It's more, you know, finding that connection between two people and having your support and your friends like Jack and Gus, you know, supporting you and helping you whatever little way that they can. You know, little being mice. Sorry, that's a bad pun. I only just thought that on the fly. But yeah, I think you can't not discuss Cinderella in this list. So yeah, fantastic pick. Awesome. So it's knocked off on everyone's list. I think that was the first time that it's on everyone's list. So that's pretty cool. It was to be expected though. So awesome. Meg, where are we heading for number 2?
We are heading to Tangled. Too bad Corey's not here right now, but Rapunzel is one of my favorite princesses. I think I just have to start with, I love Mandy Moore. I have always loved Mandy Moore. I think she's a fantastic singer, and I just think she has a really unique and warm voice. And I just think she voices Rapunzel so perfectly. I love the story of Tangled. I feel like I'm talking about the Haunted Mansion. You know, I just love everything about Tangled. And Rapunzel is just such a unique princess, I feel like. And when my hair used to be so much longer, I would love meeting her, because then we would like talk about our braids together and Pascal and everything. But I think she's so unique. And like I said, I love Mandy Moore. And I think a lot of people can relate to Rapunzel. And I know a lot of people in the chat really like Rapunzel too, so I would love to hear what you guys have to say as well. But I just really love Rapunzel.
And I think we spoke about this last week with Rob and Adam. Shout out to those guys. Thank you for joining us last week. But we were talking about, despite Rapunzel being so popular in the past, you know, decade, she, you know, arguably is just up there as being as popular maybe an Anna, as an Elsa, and as a Tiana. It's a shame that, you know, with her popularity, that all we get at Disney are restrooms.
Yeah.
And it's a shame, because although they are the most elegant restrooms in the whole of Disney, I'm not sure about the women's side, but I'm telling you, the men's side is great because you have all these like Viking pictures and everything, and your hook hand. You got the guy who does the thing with the unicorn, Vladimir, with the unicorns in there. It's great. But it's just
flowers.
For me, it's just like, is that really what they can do with Tangled? But they could do so much. I know they have the tower in Magic Kingdom. You can do the Pascal, find the Pascal in that area. But I would love just a Rapunzel dark ride or a Tangled dark ride. I think they need a little bit more love because she is so popular and she is awesome. So, I mean, you know, she was on my list. She was in my honorable mentions. Rachel, was she on yours?
Yes, she was one of my honorable mentions. And I was just going to say before you said the bathroom thing, best bathrooms in all of Disney World.
Yep.
But I completely agree that they really should do something more with her. And I also think her meet and greet is underrated as well. I think most people tend to go to the more popular princesses, just like you were saying, even though she is so popular. I don't see very long lines for her, which I'm usually really shocked about.
No, but I also think that one of those main reasons is probably because everyone is lining up to hold the lantern thing.
Yeah.
That line, I remember standing in that line and we were in Liberty Square. We were literally in the middle of Liberty Square. Like, not even by Haunted Mansion. Like, we were by, like, the Hall of Presidents because the line was so long because it was, like, the first week they were doing it.
Wow.
And it was, like, my last, like, couple of days. And we were waiting there for such a long time, even though you're only taking, like, a couple of pictures.
Yeah.
It just deserves a lot more because Rapunzel is such a great character. She is kind of like Merida. She's very independent. She wants to, you know, see the lanterns. She wants to see what it's all about. And she's not afraid of going into a bar, a pub with these vicious looking Vikings and just say, right, I have a dream. I want to see the lanterns. And then she just turns everybody like that. And
yeah, I think for me, like, it's the whole thing about living your dream. And I also think as someone who like paints and Rapunzel paints, I'm just like very inspired by her wanting to go out and like live my dream. And like, I feel like all these Disney princesses are about like defying the odds and like being your true self. And like, I just want to be them.
And I remember watching this movie for the first time, and there's only 2 movies that I've ever watched in my life at the movie theater where I've actually fallen out of my chair laughing. One of them I can't mention on this stream because it's a family-friendly show, but it's a Seth Rogen animation film that came out a couple of years ago, which I'm not going to talk about. And this movie, Tangled, where they started singing "I've Got a Dream," I have never laughed so much in a movie theater before. So, yeah.
And also, I think I read somewhere that Tokyo Disneyland is actually going to have a Tangled ride where at the end, all of the lanterns come up. Yeah, supposedly it's going to be amazing. Yeah.
All right, guys, we need to go. Right, we're heading out now.
Go to Tokyo.
Bye.
Bye, guys. We'll see you next week. We're off to Tokyo and riding that ride.
Next month.
Love it. Rapunzel, I think, has to be on that list. Yeah. Right. Wow. My list has gone from 1 to really hardly anything because everyone has taken all my picks. But one that was, although this is my second pick, realistically it's my third because my second was Merida. But my next pick is Belle. Now, for me, growing up in the 90s, growing up with that Disney, you know, Renaissance, I love using that word, with like Lion King and Aladdin and Hercules. Beauty and the Beast was one of those films that I always used to watch on VHS. I know, retro stuff. If you're under like, I don't know, 18 at the moment, you probably don't even know what VHS is. But I remember rewinding this movie and just watching it from start to finish and just was really captivated, not just by all the other characters in Beauty and the Beast, but Belle herself, because she is a very smart, very out-looking kind of person. She can see, you know, the grass isn't always greener on the other side. That kind of, you know, everything is not what it seems. So looking, you know, within the story rather than just the front cover. So, and I think she just is a very patient, she's a very loyal person as well. And I think she's just a person who, like Cinderella, you can kind of consider her, maybe she was that kind of era's Cinderella. Although Ariel might have something to say about that as well. But for me, I think that scene where you see Belle in her gold ball gown and the Beast on the other side and coming together for Beauty and the Beast, the song is one of the most iconic scenes in the whole of Disney animation. So I think I had to put that on my list. So what do we think? Is it on our list or?
It was one of my honorable mentions.
Yep.
And just like you said, I love how independent she is. And I also love how the appearance of the Beast didn't change the way she felt about him and how she still fell in love with him. And I think that sends a really strong message to young girls and to everyone who watches to not judge people by their outside, because on the inside you could love them for who they really are.
Yeah, absolutely. And Meg?
I think that's what sticks out to me most, and I think that's what's most admirable about Belle, is that you can love someone based on who they are, their personality. It doesn't have to do anything with looks, and I think that's really important for a lot of us to think about, and that's how I like to judge everyone, based on their character, not by, you know, their looks and their appearance. And I think, you know, watching that, Dan, as you said, you know, we grew up in the 90s. Dan and I are the same age. So like growing up with these princesses as role models, I think it really does have a pretty big effect on who you are as an adult. And I love that Belle is like, she really does. Like, I feel like she's educated. She loves to read. I think that's wonderful for little girls too. And she doesn't give in to like the pressure of, like, I don't know. I think about Gaston. It's like, oh, I'm so beautiful, but you know, he's horrible. And everyone else is obsessed with Gaston. And I think the fact that she is very independent, once again, like so many Disney princesses, she's very independent. And I think she is willing, once again, to sacrifice herself for her father, it's all very admirable.
And you can definitely tell that this story has become so popular because you can pretty much see her being represented in three out of the 4 parks at Walt Disney World. You have the Beauty and the Beast live show at Hollywood Studios, which one of my favorite fun facts was that show was released the same day as its premiere of the movie. So they had no idea how well this was going to be received. And it's still here today, which I think is incredible. You can see her over in the France Pavilion in Epcot. And then you also have Be Our Guest. Finally, it's only taken half an hour, but we're finally talking about food. Be Our Guest is just amazing. Trust me, it's delicious. Don't believe me, ask the dishes. Great stuff is just amazing. Though I can never really get a dining reservation for it. It's fine. And then you can also see Enchanted Tales with Belle. You can meet Belle. You can take part in her story. And it's just, there's so much thought behind Beauty and the Beast that she has got a lot more maybe recognition than a lot of other princesses. So, and in my opinion, the Lumiere animatronic, a bit of a side note, is probably one of my favorite animatronics in the whole of Disney. Hey, Emma and John, what is up? Good to see you. I'm sorry it's so late for you guys. So was Belle on our lists? I completely forgot.
Yeah, she was
honorable mention for Rachel.
Yep.
Honorable mention. Awesome. Love it. Right. We are on round 3, but I think we're going to have to start to maybe revert into some new ones because some of us may be all out of princesses. So, Rachel, round 3, where are you going to go next?
My third princess is Ariel, the Little Mermaid, of course. And for her, I love how she sends the message of no matter how outrageous your dreams may seem, that you should go for them and that you can achieve them. So I really love that. And I think that ties in with Disney and Walt perfectly for, just like you said, Meg, all these princesses really send a message of following your dreams and always having that dream to look back at. So I think that's awesome. And that's how I try to live my life, to always follow my dreams, because I think that's so important for everyone. And everyone has a dream and there's a reason for that. So I love how she really sends the message of go for it, no matter how crazy it may seem.
I couldn't agree more. There are a lot of people who do believe that Ariel was, especially during our kind of generation, that Ariel was that key princess that kind of made you believe that, right, you can do anything. And I remember when I applied for working for Disney and they asked you, you know, who's your favorite character? A lot of the female people who were asked that question, a lot of the female people, can't think of the word, it's late here, don't worry. They said Ariel because, you know, she, you know, wanted to become a human. She wanted to do it no matter what. She'll even go down a dark path to do it, but she'll do whatever it takes to do it. And I just remember sitting there and I'm like, right, what am I going to do? What am I going to say to counter that? Because that's a really good argument and that's a really good answer. Because you're right, Ariel is that princess who, you know, you are inspired by because you want, as somebody who wanted to be a cast member, you want to be a cast member, you want to have legs, you want to see what it's like above the ocean. That is what it's all about. Cargo says, Dan has dreams about pickles, and even though he's sleeping, he never stops trying to reach for the jar.
Yeah.
Oh, Cargo.
Yeah, true.
Oh, dearie me. That is a story. That is a story. So yeah, no, for sure. I think Ariel is, you know, an ambassador, and also, again, similar to Belle, she is being represented a lot in the parks. You know, you see her at Hollywood Studios at the Voyage of the Little Mermaid with Ursula, that kind of looks like Hades from Hercules because it looks so weird. I always find that. And then you've also got her attraction in Magic Kingdom, which for me is one of my favorite rides because it's just so classic. And yeah, I think absolutely it's that word again, classic. Meg, was Ariel on your list?
Of course, she has to be on my list. She's one of my favorite princesses.
Who would have thought?
Yeah, obviously I like Ariel, but I think that for me, The Little Mermaid was always very special because I have a very close relationship with my dad. And Rachel, I think you probably feel the same way. And just like for my dad watching me grow up, it was really hard for him to see me go and, you know, branch out and do my own thing and like follow my own dreams. And I think at some point, like when I watched that movie with my dad, he cries at the end because I think it's like, you know, it's really sweet that he's like, you know, she really does love him. And it's like, yes. And, you know, I'm just going to really miss her, but I want her to follow her dreams. And I feel like I have those conversations with my dad too. And I think it was like when I was watching Moana and just, I think that storyline of going out and chasing your dreams, like obviously everyone we've been talking about, but I don't know, I think because Ariel has to go over such a hurdle, like a physical hurdle, I think that that's even more powerful, that she's willing to give up everything to go and follow her dreams and be a human. But I also really love Ursula. So, I mean, I love The Little Mermaid.
Couldn't tell.
Yeah.
See, for me, as someone who grew up that time, The Little Mermaid, I never really got into actually. And it was only really till quite late that I started to get into The Little Mermaid. And Ursula was never really my favorite villain. She was very sassy, very just, she just wasn't very, you know, she wasn't really a villain for me. I don't really know why. Like for me, I always thought like Scar was like my villain. Like he would go to the absolute worst to do that. So Ursa never really creeped me out, but it's only the last maybe 10 years or so when I actually really watched that movie and then watched its sequels, I actually really did enjoy it and actually saw the message behind it. And actually, if you watch The Little Mermaid 2, Return to the Sea, it's a great sequel that I think is really underrated, as it literally just swaps the storyline to get over. So you have Ariel's daughter wanted to be in the sea rather than, be on land. So I think it's really, really interesting, and she has to be mentioned. Though she wasn't on my list, I'm afraid. So what do we think?
Yeah, exactly what you were saying, Meg. Me and my dad are like this, just like you were saying. And I think that when Ariel's dad accepts that, he wants the best for her, and he only wants the best for her. And when he sees that she really wants to do that and she really loves him, then I think that's a great message for kids and parents who are watching that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Now, I've lost track. Whose turn is it?
I think it's my turn, but I also don't know.
Yes, no, I think it is your turn, Meg.
Okay, I'm going to have to go super classic. I'm going to say Snow White. Snow White she goes in and out of being my favorite princess. I think I make it very clear a lot that the evil queen is my favorite villain, and I really love my mom used to dress up as the evil queen every single year for Halloween. So like I connect that movie to my mom. My mom has like pitch black, dark hair. And so I just always thought of my mom as Snow White. And then she would like become the evil queen on Halloween. And I think I love the movie so much because of my mom. And then my grandpa also really loves it too. And I think having that connection with my family makes me love the movie even more. But I love the old animation style. I love the hand-drawn animation. I think Snow White is just the most beautiful princess. I just love everything about the movie. I love favorite villain. Now we know who's going to win your bracket. Well, I also really love Oogie Boogie, but that's a whole nother topic. And I love everything about that movie and how, like, what's the word I'm looking for? How influential it was to the entire world. And I get really excited talking about Snow White, but I think she's a wonderful princess. I love that she just goes into like a random house and starts cleaning, and like, who does that? And I love how like sweet and nice and kind she is. And I think that's what I try to strive for. Plus I love her ride. So it's really interesting because I was talking about this with Rob Fuzz's channel, and that if it wasn't for Snow White, speaking of which, he's only just joined us. Rob, you are just in time. We're talking about Snow White. If it wasn't for Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, we would not have animation, period. Like, we wouldn't have not only Disney animation, we wouldn't have Pixar, we wouldn't have, the other companies that, you can go and see over the other places down the street in Orlando. You wouldn't have those little yellow, midget dome things that goes blah, 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 blah. You wouldn't have a green ogre. You wouldn't have any of these animated characters if it was not for Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. This is such an influential movie that it was given its own reward at the Oscars. Like, no film ever does that. Like, it has its own reward, guys. Like, you can't get any better than that. And if it wasn't for Snow White, we wouldn't have any of, the Disney classics that we had, like Pinocchio, Fantasia, Dumbo. It's so influential. And Snow White being that character, though her voice does annoy me a little bit. Her voice, especially in the parks, her voice can irritate me a little. She is very good-hearted. She is really good-hearted and a really enjoyable and lovable character. So there was something else I completely forgot about, but which will come back to me. Rachel, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, as a Disney princess.
She was not on my list, but I think that it's so awesome, just like Cinderella, no matter how much time has passed, being that she was literally the first one, she's still so relevant today, and that she was really the stepping stone for so much. And just like you were saying, Meg, I think she's so beautiful, and I love her costume. And I think it's hilarious that your mom dresses up thing. And also, I don't know if you guys remember, but in Magic Kingdom years ago, they had the Snow White ride, and I was terrified of that ride. Even going on it as a teenager, there were like infants on it, and I was hysterically crying. And my dad will never forget that. He will never let me live that down, that Snow White ride where I was hysterically crying as a teenager.
So funny. The thing is, that Snow White Scary Adventures, like they deliberately, put the word scary in that title because it was genuinely scary.
It was scary. They still have it in Disneyland. And boy, I went on it like a couple years ago, and it was scary. Like,
it really was.
All the dark rides are kind of scary over there.
Yeah. You got all those like classic dark rides are freaky. Mr. Toad's Wild Ride is freaky.
Yeah,
that ride, which is creepy.
Mr. Toad is horrible. Like, it's about this frog, or this toad, sorry, that gets drunk and then crashes his car and goes to hell. And then that's not very Disney friendly.
Believe me, all those movies back at that time are very politically incorrect. That should not be in an animation.
Oh, yeah.
We're getting a little bit sidetracked. But yeah, but with Snow White, there has that importance. You see her... the character of her in films like Saving Mr. Banks, with the premiere of Mary Poppins, that she had a good connection to Walt. And even today, you still have all these different rides: Snow White Scary Adventures, Seven Dwarfs Mine Coaster. And even if you plug in or put in the Snow White film, it still holds up today of its animation. And that is crazy. Its animation still holds up like it was made yesterday. So, yeah, no question Snow White should be mentioned in this group. Awesome. Right. Well, we're back to me. And all of mine have been chosen.
Wow.
Even my honorable mentions. So I have one more that I think was very important for the last decade that I think should be mentioned. And that brought a lot of people together. And that is Princess Tiana. I think Princess Tiana, firstly, the movie itself, The Princess and the Frog, is very underrated. Mm-hmm. Very underrated.
Yeah.
The music is phenomenal. I think the characters are fantastic. Prince Naveen is a very witty character. You have Tiana, who is very much independent. She's kind of like a mix between Merida and Rapunzel with Ariel. Like, she will do whatever it takes to get her restaurant. She has that dream. She wants to pay off everything. She gets like all these jobs so that she can, be proud to have this restaurant, do it for her daddy, and just have that, drive to do what she can. So she'll go and see Mama Odie to try and turn her back into a human. Like, she just has that presence. And what's amazing is that this really did so much for society. Bringing, having that first Black princess, I think, is phenomenal. And she's had such a great impact that you actually even see, little girls who aren't Black dressing up as Tiana because they do love her as a character. And I think what she has done and what Disney has done is a very good job. And she doesn't get the notice that she deserves at all. So I think Tiana had to be somewhat on my list. What do we think?
I agree completely. I love that movie. I remember seeing it in the theaters and just being like, I was laughing, I was crying. It pulls so many emotions that it's like, oh my gosh, it was one of the best Disney movies they've made. And I just love Tiana. I think she is so beautiful, and her green dress is just stunning. And that's another one that I think she needs more recognition. But I love seeing the little girls who dress up, and that just makes me so happy. But she was very brave, and she didn't let anything stop her. So I really love that.
Yeah, absolutely. And Meg?
Yeah, she was actually the last princess on my list, and I think, like you guys were saying, Tiana is so underrated. The Princess and the Frog is so underrated. I remember tweeting about it. Like I'm just like still learning how to use Twitter, but I was tweeting about the music because I just listen to the music all the time, and I don't even have to be in the mood for like Disney music, which is a lot of things. Like a lot of times I listen to that because I like to sing along to it. But I think the Princess and the Frog soundtrack, it's not even really like Disney music. It's just so jazzy. It's so good. I think, like Rachel was saying, I think Tiana is one of the most beautiful princesses. I think that green dress is unbelievable. I love meeting Tiana. Like I have to meet her almost every time I go to Disney. I think like all the characters in that movie are unbelievable. Like I sent like a little message in the chat. I was like, I love Ray. Like Ray is one of my favorite characters. And I think the unbelievable work ethic that she has, and especially now that I'm an adult and I have a lot of things to work towards, I admire her so much, and her ability to save money and to work hard and to pursue the dream that her and her father had and to open up her restaurant. I think it's amazing. I think she's a wonderful princess. I think she's a wonderful role model. And I wish that she got more recognition in the parks.
Yeah, I totally agree. They did the Liberty Square Riverboat. They did have like a little event that she used to, sail down, and you could go and meet her on there. But I would like to see a little bit more from her. But you do see her also on the Mickey's Royal Friendship Fair, which is amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Tiana can have maybe a little bit more of a presence, and also Dr. Facilier, Stacey Rogers, another great villain. Dr. Facilier is one of my favorite villains. He's a desperate man who's trying to please everybody on the other side and will do whatever it takes. And I think that it balances so well with him and Tiana, and that I think makes Tiana's character even stronger. So I had to throw that on the list. But guys, there are a few Disney princesses that we have sadly missed out. That doesn't mean we don't love them, but no love for Pocahontas or Mulan or Moana.
Oh,
Moana, like seriously, like Moana is not in here. I'm just Sleeping Beauty, but to be fair, she's kind of asleep most of the movie anyway.
Yeah.
but there are many reasons why Sleeping Beauty is a great princess. I'm just trying to think if there's any more on the top of my head. I think that's about Princess Leia, if you count her. I count her. I don't think Rob will count her because he says that Star Wars isn't part of Disney. It is, unfortunately, or fortunately, actually. But that doesn't mean we don't love those princesses as well. But we had a really, really fun time. Episode 26, our sixth month anniversary show is finally in the books. Guys, this was definitely the most successful show that we've ever had. The stream was fantastic. Everybody in the chat was absolutely awesome. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. Some just quick shout outs: Caesar, AJ, Main Street and Mickey, Mouse Talk, Cargo, scrolling up, Belle Southern, Fiona, Isaac Nail, Leanne, Fiona, DPC Dad, lots of great people, Our Disney Adventures, Noah, lots of amazing people. So everybody, thank you so much for stopping by. You guys are absolutely awesome. We're going to start wrapping up. We're going to go, there's not really much point going through our lists again, because it's literally all the Disney princesses. But I just got to say thank you guys so much for joining me. Firstly, I just want to thank Rachel for joining us, Disney Princess Couture. You were the perfect person to bring on for this particular episode. And I think Leanne has put your channel in the chat. I'll put it in the description box down below. Just thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. This was so much fun. And just to interact with you guys and everyone in the chat and talk about our favorite Disney princesses and following our dreams. This was awesome. So thank you guys so much for having me.
I think we'll have to, I think you'll have to come back another time.
Thank you so much, Rachel.
Yeah, anytime.
I'll have to come back another time. And you can follow Rachel on all her social media, which is YouTube, as well as Twitter and Instagram. Your Instagram is just mind-blowingly incredible. So it's absolutely awesome. Please go check her out. And you're at the parks quite often as well. So check out your videos and live streams that you guys will not be disappointed in the chat. Hey, Samantha Paxton, thank you so much for stopping by. And of course, Megan, it is so good to have you back. And actually, you have materialized.
I'm no longer.
But that show 2 weeks ago was phenomenal. And I think this show, again, was fantastic. So thank you so much again for stopping by. If you guys haven't checked out Meg's channel, please go and check out Mickey's Magic, my partner channel. Anything you'd like to plug, Megan?
Well, when I checked the last time, it's been going up and down, but I said I was 3 subscribers away from 900. So I would love to get to 900. But I just also want to thank Rachel again. I think we couldn't have had a more perfect guest. And please, guys, I just saw that Walt was saying I'm going to go sub to your channel, Rachel. And if you guys haven't checked out Rachel's Instagram, her YouTube, anything, and Dan's too, guys. Obviously we're on Dan's stream right now, but please go check everyone out. Everyone in the stream is awesome. And thank you everyone for all the birthday wishes. All the fast passes, love that. Yeah, guys, I had gotten 17 fast passes that one day. It was wonderful.
That was a really great video. And if you joined the show from, I think Rachel, you put this stream up on Instagram.
Yeah. Oh my
guys, if you've just if this is your first time watching me, my name is Disney Dan. I'm a UK former cast member, and I do this show every single week, Disney Fiasco, as well as lots and lots of other vlogs about Disney and Walt Disney World. So please feel free to come and subscribe to the channel as well. And we have some amazing guests every single Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Guys, thank you again. Just thank you so much. Please go check these guys out on youtube.com. I don't know why I said .com. I don't know. Please go check out my other partner channel, Corey Fiasco. He was in here earlier. He is also absolutely killing it. He will be back soon. I know he's been away for such a long time, but he will be moving down to Disney literally this month. So once he's settled in, he will be back hopefully soon. Please go check out the liveplace.com. Dean from Dreamers Empire does a great job with live streams, all your family-friendly live streams like Resort TV 1, Chris from Spokesman, as well as people like Mouse Talk, Rob Fuzz. I think Dole Whip Dad, I think you're on the live place as well. I can't remember if you are or not, but we have some amazing live streamers up there on the liveplace.com. Thank you so much for in somewhat sponsoring this video. You guys are absolutely awesome. You could check me out as well, Disney Dan on Twitter and on Instagram at Disney Dan. Again, well, actually, technically, it's not my birthday anymore. That was yesterday because I'm, you know,
still in the US, we count that.
But,
yeah.
But it's no. Remember, guys, I'm a time traveler. I'm ahead. I'm like in the future. I'm like Doc Brown.
I want to say that you guys were such amazing hosts.
Oh,
You were so awesome and made me feel so welcome. So I just wanted to thank you guys so much. You are going to have huge success with this in the future, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for you guys.
Oh, that actually means the world coming from you. So thank you so much. And I'm sure that whenever we're all around in Disney, we're gonna have to have a really big YouTube up.
Yeah.
Maybe do some Beverly shots. That'll be fun. We'll get Corey Fiasco and Corey Meets World into the action as well. That'll be
all the Corys.
All the Corys. And get Haley in there as well. That'll be fun. Right, guys, thank you so much for watching. We're going to wrap things up. Thank you, everybody in the chat. Remember, guys, you are not my subscribers. You are my friends. We are on our way to 800 subscribers. Meg is literally knocking on 900 subscribers. And Rachel, you're 1,000.
I don't know.
A lot.
1,600 and something. I don't know.
All right, we'll get you to 200 by the end of this video. 2,000 subscribers. By
yeah.
Sorry, it is late. But thank you guys so much. And I've just got to say one more thing, and that's live your life with a smile, guys, each and every day. And I'll see you guys real soon. Thank you guys so much. Have a magical evening, guys.
Bye.
Bye.